et bienvenue. Hello and welcome. Today's lesson is going to focus on where people live. I know when you meet someone and you're doing an introduction, you end up asking, where do you stay? Where do you live? So this is what you're going to look at today. Now in French, the main verb you're going to use, just like in English, where do you stay? Where do you live? The main verb we're going to use is habiter. Because habiter in French simply means to stay or to live. So you see it connects with English. Where do you stay? Where do you live? We're going to use the verb habiter. Now, I know you're wondering why I'm saying habiter, yet you can see an H at the beginning. In French, H is silent. So that H is silent and we say habiter. When we were talking about ER verbs, we said there are rules for ER verbs. We first get rid of ER at the end and then put the endings. So that's what you can see on the whiteboard, where you say, j'habite, I stay. My name is Ignatius, I stay. Tu habites, you stay. Il habite, he stays. Elle habite, she stays. On habite, one stays. Nous habitons, we stay. Vous habitez, you guys, you stay. Then ils habitent and elles habitent, they stay. Now, this is what you're going to do. As you realize, we always say at. Where do you stay? I say at Langata. Or in Langata. So the word we're going to use here is a. A, as you can see on the whiteboard, a. A simply introduces a place. So you're asking me, Monsieur Ignatius, où habites-tu? Mr. Ignatius, where do you stay? Où habites-tu? Now, où simply means where. You remember we just said, tu habites, you stay. At. But now I'm saying où is where. So tu habites, you stay. Now we say où habites-tu? Where do you stay? When you ask me a question, we start with the verb and then the pronoun. Où habites-tu? Where do you stay? And for me to answer that question, I'll be telling you, j'habite, I stay. Karen, I said Karen. Tu habites. Mombasa, you stay in Mombasa. Elle habite. Londres, she stays in London. So is always used to introduce a place. Now, you find these questions will arise during the introduction. The introduction. We are meeting. Two people here are meeting. The introduction basically begins, isn't it? Bonjour. One person says bonjour, the other one says bonjour. And then I introduce myself. Je m'appelle Ignatius. Comment tu t'appelles? I'm asking the other person, my name is Ignatius. What's your name? And the other person replies, moi, je m'appelle Mademoiselle Dorothy. My name is Miss Dorothy. And then I ask her, Mademoiselle Dorothy, Miss Dorothy, où habites-tu? Where do you stay? And she replies and says, j'habite à Karen. I say, Karen. And she asks me, et toi, and you, où habites-tu? Where do you stay? And I say, j'habite à Westlands. I live in Westlands. Are you seeing? So, is very important when you want to introduce a place. But now we want to look at different places where people stay. Because if Geoffrey lives in an apartment, another one just lives in a house, another one lives on a farm, another lives in the mountains. So we want to look at all these things today. So you're asking someone, où habites-tu? Where do you stay? Où habites-tu? Where do you stay? Now someone wants to tell you, I stay or I live. We say, j'habite. J'habite. I stay or I live. Now you want to say, I live in a house. J'habite. I know you're laughing. I live in a house. When some people live in halls, a mansion. So you say, j'habite dans une maison. J'habite dans une maison. I live in a house. Dans une maison. You see une and then maison, meaning that maison, house or mansion, is feminine. J'habite dans une maison. Then another one says, I live in an apartment. An apartment is masculine. Où habites-tu? Where do you stay? And say, j'habite, I stay, dans un appartement. I live in an apartment. J'habite dans un appartement. I live in an apartment. Another one say, I live on a farm. I live on a farm. So you say, j'habite dans une ferme. J'habite dans une ferme. Ferme. J'habite dans une ferme. I live on a farm. What if you live on a port? Like Mombasa is a port. Or maybe even La Rochelle in France is a port. You want to say, I live in a port. So you simply say, j'habite dans un port. J'habite dans un port. A port. Mombasa, in Kenya we have Mombasa. In France we have La Rochelle. We have ports. You understand the port. J'habite dans un port. What if you live in a town, a city? City is what we call V-I-L-L-E, V. So you want to say, I live in a city. J'habite dans une ville. J'habite dans une ville. I live in a town. Dans une ville. What about a village? Village in French is just village. Village. So you say, j'habite dans un village. And a village is masculine, so using un. J'habite dans un village. Dans village. J'habite dans un village. Now, another one is, I stay at home. At home is what we call à la maison. À la maison. So, Geoffrey, où habites-tu? Geoffrey, where do you stay? Moi, me, j'habite à la maison. I stay at home. Maybe still says with parents, j'habite à la maison. What if Lilac stays in the mountains? She just enjoys staying in the mountains. That's why she's put up her home in the mountains. And she wants to tell you, I stay in the mountains. So you're talking to Lilac and you're asking her, Lilac, où habites-tu? Lilac, where do you stay? And she tells you, moi, j'habite à la montagne. For me, I live in the mountains. J'habite à la montagne. What of Deston? This guy who loves the sea, and so he lives next to the sea. That's the environment he loves to stay. So you're asking Deston, where do you stay? He says, if you want to say, I stay by the sea. By the sea. Deston, où habites-tu? He tells you, j'habite au bord de la mer. I live by the sea. Mer is sea. So, au bord de la mer simply means by the sea. J'habite au bord de la mer. Assuming Andre stays near Paris. He doesn't stay in Paris, but he stays near Paris. He stays France. So you're asking Andre, Andre, où habites-tu? So he starts by saying, j'habite, I stay, but he wants to say near Paris. Near is what we call près. Près de. So he tells you, moi, j'habite près de Paris. Près de. Near. J'habite près de Paris. I stay near Paris. Près de Mombasa. Near Mombasa. Près de Nairobi. Near Nairobi. Près de Londres. Near London. Près de. Are we together? So basically, I just wanted us to look at places where people live. Just remember that the key verb here is habite. Habite. Are we together? So we're going to stop there with the verb habite. And until next time, bye-bye. Please remember to subscribe. Au revoir.